Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and today we're going to be making stuffed bell peppers. Stay with me and I'll show you how these are made. Let's get started making our stuffed bell peppers and we're going to start with our ingredients. I've got a bowl here with a strainer on it and I've got a 14.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes. With this we want to drain the juice out of these and just use the tomatoes. We don't want our stuffing for our peppers all soggy. So I'm going to put this in this strainer in this bowl and just let this sit and strain as I work on my other ingredients here. So I've got 1 pound of hamburger meat here and it is a 93% blend. So that is not going to have a lot of oil that's going to be in my pan today that I'll have to drain off, but we'll keep a watch on that as we cook our hamburger meat. Then I've got a 1/2 pound of ground pork and I've got 1 cup of rice here that I did cook yesterday. You can cook it ahead if you like to, or you can cook it the day of, it doesn't matter. And then I've got 1 cup of finely chopped onions here. That's about half of a small onion. I've got 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and I've got a 1/2 cup of frozen corn that I'll be putting in my mixture today. We definitely want that frozen. That'll be the last thing that we put in. I've got 3 cloves of garlic that I've got mincely chopped here. And I've got my house seasoning that we'll be seasoning our meats with. If you haven't seen that video on how I make my house seasoning, I'll put the link in the description box below so you can check that out. And I've got some spinach that we're putting in it. Always a way to look to put any more greens you can into your meal. So we'll be chopping up a couple of handfuls of this spinach. If you've ever cooked spinach before, you know that it's going to wilt down. So it might look like a lot as we've got here on the counter and so we put it in our pan, but it will cook down to not quite a lot as you're looking at it in the skillet. And then we've got our peppers. So what you want to do when you're looking for your peppers, I've got 3 here. This batch will make 6 of these peppers. So with everything that I've got here, you could fill 6 of these. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to cook 3 of them, and then the rest of the ingredients I'm going to take the other 3 peppers that I've got and I'm going to prepare those and have those frozen or for a meal prep for during the week if you need to take something for work. You can put them in the refrigerator and you can have them in there for the next day or 2. If you want to freeze them, they'll last in there, about a month, and then you can take them out when you have the urge, when you might want one. So definitely this is a great way to prepare ahead of time. So this batch will make 6 of these. If you want to make half the batch and just do 3 of these, you can fix the recipe to however you want to do it. So you can do it 1 or 2 ways. These peppers that I've got here, you can see here I've got 4 good legs on these. These are standing up. If you wanted to, you could just take the top off of these, take the top and then stuff them that way, and they will stand up in your pan as you cook them in the oven. What I'm going to do with these today is I'm going to cut these in half, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those. So I've already given these a wash, and I'm just going to take the seam here. I'm just going to run the knife down the middle. And we want to leave this green part on our peppers because we want our stuffing to be able to stay inside of our pepper. So I'm just going to take the knife and I'm just going to go down the side just a little bit, and we're going to pull all the seeds out of it and all the little white bits that's in it. We'll take all of those out. And I'll take these to the sink and give it a little rinse to get the rest of the seeds out of those. I'm going to continue to work on these other 3 and I'll be right back. All right, I am back and I've got my peppers now. I've got the core out of them that I want, and you can see what those look like. Those are really nice and pretty. And I've got a 9 by 13 baking dish here that I'll be baking these in. You do not have to grease this pan at all. These will not stick to that. So I'm just going to put these in here and set these aside. You can see that that will actually fill up a 9 by 13 dish on its own. So I'm going to work on my other ingredients here, and we'll continue to move on with this making our stuffed bell peppers. So like I said about the spinach, I'm just going to take a couple of handfuls of this and just kind of give this a little bit of a chop. There we go. That does look like a lot, but once I get this minced up and get it cooking into the pan, it will really shrink up. So just give this kind of just a rough chop. All right, as you can see here, I've just got this into a rough chop, and I'm just going to set this aside and we'll move on to our other. I'm going to be putting some cheese in my stuffed bell peppers. I've got some medium cheddar cheese here that I'm going to grate up. We want about a cup of that. We'll be putting that into our mixture before we put those into the oven. And then I've got some Monterey Jack here that once the peppers are almost done, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit out on the top of them. So I'm going to go ahead and grate up 1 cup of my cheddar cheese, and then I'll be using my Monterey Jack here to put on the top as we get ready to serve that. So, all right, I'll be right back after I grate 1 cup of my cheese. All right, we've got everything prepped now for our peppers. I'm going to meet you at the stove and we'll get started preparing the meat now for the stuffing. All right, let's get started preparing our ingredients now for our stuffed peppers. I'm going to put just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in the bottom, maybe about a tablespoon. We'll put that in there because I do have a lower fat content meat here. I might need a little bit of oil in the bottom of that. So I'm going to go ahead and add our meat in now. This will be the ground beef. I'm going to add in my pork. And now we'll just stir this around until it gets brown, and then I'll be adding my onions in here in just a few minutes. All right, now we're going to add our onions in. All right, now let's add some of our house seasoning. That's probably about 1.5 teaspoons, but you can definitely, when it gets done, you can taste it to see if you need to add anything else to it. That's just a good start. Like I've said in my previous videos, you can always add more, but you can't take it out. All right, now we're going to add in our Worcestershire sauce and give that a good mix through. All right, I do have a little bit of fat in the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to get me a big spoon, and I'm going to take that out, and I'll be right back. All right, now let's add our garlic in. I want to add this toward the end because garlic has a tendency to want to try to burn, and you definitely don't want burnt garlic in your dish. Now let's add our spinach. That looks like a lot of spinach, but it will cook down, and we'll give that a good mix through. And you can see how that spinach is already wilted down. Now we're going to put our tomatoes in. You can see how much juice come out of those. We definitely did not want that into our stuffed bell pepper mixture, so we'll just add our tomatoes in and stir that through. At this point, we just want to heat our tomatoes up because they'll continue to cook in the stove with our bell peppers. Now we're going to put our rice in and give that a good mix through. Now we're going to add our corn and stir that through. And lastly, we've got our cheese. We'll add that in. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And we're just going to stir this through just so that it all combines together. Our mixture is now ready for our peppers, so I'll meet you back and we will stuff these and go on to baking these in the oven. Let's start stuffing our bell peppers now. So I've got my ingredients here that you saw me make at the stove, and I've got my oven preheating to 350, and I'm just going to go ahead and take these and I'm just going to fill them full here. And then I'm going to take another little spoon here and I'm just going to kind of push it down into it. I want these heaping full. All right, there we go. This is my first one. I'm going to go ahead and work on these other 6, and I'll be right back and show you what these look like. I've got my pepper stuffed now, and they are ready for the oven. Take a look at these. These look incredible. These will go into my 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. About 15 minutes into cooking, I'm going to turn the pan around so that I get it good, even cooking on all sides of them. So I'll see you back at 30 minutes, and I'll show you what we're going to do. And remember that Monterey Jack cheese? I've got plans for that. Stick with me. 30 minutes on 350. Now that we've got our peppers in the oven, you see I've got some leftovers here. I'm going to go ahead and prep those for the freezer. So we'll go ahead and take extra peppers that you've got, cut those in half, stuff those, put those in the freezer, and those will be ready to go whenever you're ready for another stuffed pepper in the future. Or you can go ahead and stuff them and put them in the refrigerator, and then as you're ready for them this week, take them out and give them a cook. So don't throw the leftovers away. We've got plans for those. Stuff them and freeze them, and that way you'll have something for the future. All right. We are back, and look at my bell peppers. They are looking really good. And what we're going to do now is I've got some of that Monterey Jack cheese that I've got shredded up, and we're just going to put that on the top of each one of them. So I'm going to put that on there. Might look like I might need a little bit more. Can't never have enough cheese, can we? I'm going to grate up a little bit more cheese for the other 2, put these back in the oven, let the cheese melt for about 5 to 10 minutes, and these will be done, ready to eat. I'll see you back in just a minute. We'll do a taste test. I am back. My bell peppers are done. They stayed in there an extra 5 minutes. You can see how really nice that Monterey Jack cheese melted on the top of those. So you can definitely keep a watch on your stove. Mine cooked 30 minutes on 350. Everybody's stove's just a little bit different. And then you put the cheese on the top, melt them. The bell peppers themselves will still have a little bit of crunch to them. I like that. I don't like a soft, smushy bell pepper. So I'm going to plate these and we're going to come back and give these a taste test. All right, I am back and I've got my dinner plated and I'm ready for my taste test. This looks incredible. So I've got some mashed potatoes, some peas, some of my homemade dinner rolls, and we've got this really delicious looking stuffed bell pepper. I want to get some of that ingredients on the inside. That is incredible. You would not believe how good that tastes. I hope this has inspired you to make stuffed bell peppers, and if it has, maybe you might want to check out one of these other 2 videos over here. You might find something else you like. All right, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.